Yippee-Ki-Yay, mother...
Welcome to the party, pal!
Welcome to Yippee-Ki-Yay Classic. How's it going, guys? I'm Ralph Quartucci.
I'm Sean Paul Murphy.
I'm Debbie Murphy.
I'm John Quartucci.
I'm Drew Gould.
And I'm Chris Coker.
Well, hello, everybody. Have a good week. Good couple of weeks.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Any better, I'd be twins.
Right. Well, we got a beaut tonight brought by Sean. We'll mention that movie in a little bit. But before we get started, let's talk about what you watch. Let's start with Chris Coker. What'd you watch, Chris?
I went ahead and got a little long term, and I watched Once Upon a Time in America. It is currently streaming on Netflix. So I sat down and I did watch it in stages, of course.
How long is that one?
So like 3 hours and 45 minutes, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. It is. It's funny because I remember seeing the original cut of it when it was first out on videotape, and it was still a 2-tape set even then. I think they cut like a solid hour out of it, and then I went back and I watched it again, and it's one of those ones where I think that, and I'm a huge Leone fan. Sergio Leone directed that picture. It's a good, solid movie, but it is one of those ones where on that occasional thing where you say, maybe the extra 70 minutes wasn't all necessary.
Yeah.
And I love long films. I love them.
There were 5 minutes of the film that weren't necessary. The film has a tone, but did your version have that rape scene in it?
Oh, God, yeah.
That was totally out of the blue, totally uncharacteristic of the characters. It was just like destroys the movie in my opinion.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you loved it for that reason.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it destroyed the movie.
Oh,
it's I'm not sure that it is out of character for his character. His character was, in the middle of the robbery, and that one scene he decides to take a minute and
rape. The girl he loves.
Yeah, I know it was bad. I think it was just in that moment when she basically says, "Hey, I went out with you just to and he takes her out, he buys out the entire restaurant and all this kind of stuff. And for her to be like, "Hey, I'm moving to Hollywood." Now, obviously nothing excuses what he did next, but it was like, I could see his character had a violence, like an undercurrent of violence to it, that he might do that. But yeah, overall though, it's a really weird. But one of the things I like about that film is how it bounces from like flashback within flashback. It just bounces around sequentially. I won't even call them flashbacks. Narratively, it bounces around sequentially, and that was kind of interesting.
So let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me ask you a question because I haven't seen that movie in a long time, and I think at the end, what I'm remembering is that James Woods. He's the villain, basically.
Yep.
He takes his own life by jumping into a garbage truck. Am I remembering that right? It's like he goes into the street and disappears. I didn't understand. I don't remember how it works.
He disappears, but I think the story is that, he had become this other guy and became a politician and faked his own death kind of thing. And then what happens is at the end with the garbage truck is that he actually asks, the De Niro character Noodles to kill him, to kind of put him out of his misery kind of thing. And he follows Noodles when he won't do it. When Noodles won't kill him. He follows him into the street, and out of nowhere in the middle of the night, this garbage truck rolls up. And then all of a sudden, it was sitting outside. So I think the idea is that the garbage truck passes by him, slows down, passes by James Woods, and then James Woods is gone. I think the implication is that guys jumped out and threw him into the garbage truck, which had these giant like screw type garbage disposal type things. So I think that's the implication that they were after him anyway, and they got him, and he was never seen again.
Yeah, Drew, I think you're confusing it with Working Men with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen.
Oh, yes.
I think that's the movie you're thinking of.
Oh,
yeah.
I think
Excellent movie.
Men at Work, I think is
I'm sorry.
Men at Work.
No, that was a band.
No, it's called Men at Work too. It's also
Chris. Don't ever correct me again. You're low man on the totem pole.
James Woods' character would
when you're right, you're right.
Better luck if he had asked Noodles to rape him.
Well,
okay, all right. So obviously,
I knew Sean, you'd work that into it.
Did he shoot this like he shot Once Upon a Time in the West? Same idea with the close-ups and all that, or was it less? I haven't seen it all the way through. I can't even remember if I've ever seen it.
I love Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah.
I'm tolerable for most of Once Upon a Time in America.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West is one of those movies that, while it does have a 3-hour runtime, I think every part of it, even like the 12-minute credit sequence at the beginning, which is essentially 3 guys waiting for a train.
Yeah, that's an amazing.
I think it's
shot.
and I just think that the way that I think Leone was at the top of his game then, and I think he was on the downslide at in Once Upon a Time in America. However, I will say this: I think Leone directs extras better than anyone in the history of film. You ever look at the extras in a movie of his? They're all doing something, and not just standing around. They're great. Anyway,
that's awesome.
That's what I watched.
Good one. Sean and Debbie.
Well, we started watching. Debbie put on White Lotus. That's been recommended. See, we always try to watch the stuff everyone's talking about, and Debbie was really getting into it. I was getting to it a little later than you. I was doing work and all, but it's
I liked it.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. At first, in first episode, I was wondering. Don't tell me if I'm wrong. If this is going to turn into Haunts of the Very Rich, if you remember that made-for-TV movie, where all these rich people are really boorish and horrible, and they're at this resort, this tropical resort, and it turns out they're all dead and in hell.
Oh, that would be a good one. Wow.
Spoilers.
Yeah, some bad stuff's
Wait a minute.
No, but I think White Orchid was more of a soap opera. Really, if you break that thing down, it's a soap opera. Yeah. Just slickly made and some really good characters. I just read an article about the guy who played the lead, the guy who ran the hotel, and he's been I guess he's been in soaps for a while. That guy, I've never seen him.
Great.
Is that a sequel to White Oleander, or it's just its own thing?
I don't think it's black. Isn't there a Black Orchid too, or what's the one?
Well, it's White Lotus.
White Lotus. No, I don't know. You know the director more than anybody, Drew, right? You know the guy.
I haven't watched it yet.
Did you ever figure out the Ben Stiller movie he did? That was homework. Oh, damn it. So you guys just was it just a like? Did you see all the episodes? You watched the whole
we're
thing?
about halfway through.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't say anything then. Oh my God.
Yeah, please, no spoilers.
Okay.
But if it turns out they're all dead and they're all in hell.
I didn't want to say anything, but
I predicted it first.
No. All right, John, what did you watch?
So I've been watching. There's a show on Netflix called Lucifer. It started on Fox. It's now on Netflix after Fox canceled it. It's a show about the devil and God and angels. And Tom Ellis, the lead, is fantastic in this show. He's the reason why you watch the show. They have musical, like one episode is a complete musical. The one I just watched last night, he went into somebody's hell and it was animated, like Chuck Jones would have animated it. It's really funny. It's a good show because what I love about it is it does poke fun at religion, but it doesn't do it in a nasty way, so that if you are someone who does believe, that they approach it respectfully. But he is fantastic in it. This is the final season, the 6th season. And it really ended up on Netflix because of a write-in campaign from the fans of the show on Fox. And it's just really well done. The cast is really good in it, but he is the reason why you watch it. He's so good in the show. And he's very, very talented. He sings a lot in it. He dances, but he plays the devil in such a great way. And if you get a chance, watch it. And I think there's like 10 episodes per season, right around there, 10 to 12. So it's not a big stretch to watch it. But if you get a chance,
seasons that they do of it on Netflix.
They had, I think it was 3 seasons, and they've done 3 on Netflix. And you can tell every now and then you see someone's butt or they're swearing a little bit more, but that's the only difference between the Netflix show and the show that was on Fox. It's not like it's an R-rated show. It's nothing like that, but it's just well done.
How do they poke fun but not make you feel like because I know you reacted to Dogma, that they were poking fun and you didn't appreciate it. How are they poking fun at religion?
Well,
it's not
how people what they believe in, what they think of as an angel. They always play with that. The devil itself, right?
Right.
That the devil is a person. They go after God. God is kind of dysfunctional. His father, the devil's father, is God. So it's like a dysfunctional family. So they go after it like that, but they're never mean about it. They never, what's the word I want to say? If you believe, they've got no problem with that. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So to me, it's done in a respectful way. So I think if, someone who believes and believes in God
won't be offended by
not be offended by the show. No, they might be offended by some things, but But again, I think for the most part, they really take it seriously with all the angels' names and everything, and the mythology of angels falling down from heaven and going to hell. So it's actually, and it's a great, and like I said, he's great in it. He is great in this show. He is a wonderful character and does a great job. So check it out.
I haven't watched that yet. That's on my list, and because of your recommendation, I'll bump it up. But one of the reasons that it's on my list, there's an actress named Inbar Lavie. She's an Israeli woman. She plays Eve in Lucifer.
Yes,
and she's wonderful. Yeah. And before she did Lucifer, she did a show that I believe it ended up on Netflix. It wasn't, I don't think, a Netflix original, called Imposters, which is fantastic, especially if you like her about what might be a con woman going through different marriages. And it is just incredibly entertaining and a great mystery. And if you've seen Lucifer, you know how great she is.
Yeah, she's very good. She's very good in the show. Yeah. And she's actual Eve, Adam and Eve. She is Eve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she really is Eve. So it's anyway, that's it.
Well, there you go. Yep. Drew, what do you got?
Well, I have two things. One is a warning. One is a recommendation. I started watching 9 Perfect Strangers on Hulu. It's like a prestige TV checklist. It's from a famous author. It's got all these big stars. It's
that Nicole Kidman?
Yep. It looks expensive. It's got a number of people in it that I really like Nicole Kidman and Luke Evans and a bunch of people from different projects like The Good Place and stuff. But in the middle of episode 3, Hulu stopped playing it. And I had to reset my Fire TV a couple of times, and then I finished watching it. And then another time, same thing happened in 4. And then it happened again in 5. So I stopped watching because it can't be good if Hulu doesn't want me to watch their own show. And I have avoided spoilers and everything. But if Hulu is saying, please don't waste your time watching the show, which wasn't great, but I mean, I was curious. So it's not a Blood Red Sky type of warning, but you should skip 9 Perfect Strangers unless you want to watch it in pieces, because I guess Hulu doesn't want you to watch it. What I do want to recommend is a podcast. It's called Balls Deep. It is hosted by Ariel Kaplan and Rachel Waynes, two really very funny, talented, smart women. And they talk about sex and sexual topics, both personal and political. They've done, I think, 37 episodes. They're available on all the different services, iTunes and Google and Stitcher and all those things. And their most recent episode, it comes out every Friday, is called Balls Deep in Abortion, FU Texas. And it's a really well-researched look at what is happening to abortion in this country right now, the history of abortion internationally and in America, who gets abortions, why they get abortions, what's the story of the legal battles and everything. And it's also really funny, which doesn't sound possible. So I recommend highly Balls Deep. Ariel's laugh alone is perfect, and I think you guys would enjoy that show.
Awesome.
Hey, there is one more thing. There was something Debbie and I saw. I forgot to mention is Fall Guy. We decided to go like our first adult movie.
No, Free Guy.
Free Guy. Sorry, Free Guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like Lee Majors. All right. How was Free Guy?
It was really good.
Oh my gosh.
It was great being in the theater. We'd gone to children's movies. We take the kids, and there's like 8 people in the entire theater, and we're like 6 of them, and so it was nice going to an adult movie. It was really funny. It's a good idea. We're going to let the grandkids see it. I don't know what it's rated, PG-13 or what.
There's
1 or 2 bad words. But they love gaming.
They love gaming, and they watch
gaming
gamers,
videos.
And I'm watching the gamers game. They do that. It's just so crazy.
And Ryan Reynolds is always.
Yeah, I like Ryan Reynolds. He's good in everything.
Yeah. So
bad movies.
Yeah, but he's always playing Ryan Reynolds.
Yep.
That's him.
He's good at that.
Yep. I know, but I love him. I'm not even complaining.
So is Brad Pitt. I mean, Brad Pitt always plays Brad Pitt.
That's not true. No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah. Take the shirt off, Brad.
All right.
Oh,
Any
what a
more,
shocker.
Sean and Debbie, before I move to mine? Or are we
No,
good?
no, sorry. We
Oh,
just
sorry,
wanted to.
sorry.
Oh, that
We just
sounded a little
wanted to point out
sarcastic just
because
then,
of-
Ralph. Wait
That
a
was-
minute. I'm going to lean back. Go ahead,
That
Ralph.
wasn't a little sarcastic. That was a lot sarcastic. I'm not gonna recommend this, but I saw this film. I think it was on Netflix, directed by James Wan, called *Malignant*,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
the
how is
new
that?
horror movie. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cross pollinate to Movie Strange. We did a show on that called *Basket Case*, and this is sort of a watered down cousin of *Basket Case*.
Oh, okay.
And if you know anything about *Basket Case*, you know what I'm talking about. It's okay. I mean, it's James Wan, so you figure, he's the guy who did the first Saw, and he does the Insidious and all that
Aquaman.
stuff. Oh, I didn't know that
Oh, yeah.
because I don't care. And about Aquaman, it's okay. It has a twist, and if you've seen *Basket Case*, you probably already know. But it really follows the line that *Basket Case* followed. So if you know that, you know what I'm talking about. It's okay. It's not as scary as they kind of make it out to be, but it's fun to watch. It's sort of a low
1 to 10, you'd give it a
5,
okay, middle of the road.
middle of the
I heard
road.
about it. I thought it was in the theaters. It's not in
It's,
the
I think it's both.
It is.
I think it's both.
Yeah, it's
I
both.
mean, I was going to get out of it because I was kind of bored by it, but it does something about 3/4 of the way through that I should have seen coming from a mile away. And once it did that, it was kind of okay. That's why it went from a 3 to a 5, but it never went beyond the 5. But anyway,
Were you able to stay awake through the whole thing?
I did stay.
You didn't
Unlike
try
this-
it.
That's
unlike
pretty
the
good.
film,
Yeah.
the film we're about to talk about, definitely I stayed awake through *Malignant*. And speaking of the
Well, there's
film,
a precursor right there.
Sean won the turn, and he's
Yeah.
bringing a film to the table. Sean, what's the film? We know it based on what's behind me right here. What's the film?
Yes, it is 1987's Wings of Desire. What is it? Der Himmel über
Der Himmel über Berlin.
Well, here you can watch. I'll show the trailer real quick. There's no talking on the trailer. It's all just kind of like the movie. I want to show this because it has the title at the end that Sean was just trying to. Do you know that was the director's girlfriend?
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Der Himmel über Berlin.
What does that mean, Der Himmel über Berlin? Angels over Berlin or what?
No, it's the
Heaven.
Heaven.
Heaven over Berlin, or it's translated more literally. It could also be the sky over Berlin, but it's heaven. Himmel's
Okay.
heaven. Mein Gott im Himmel.
All right, and then I just want to show one more quote before you go on, and that's this quote. When the child was a child.
it didn't know it was a child. To it, everything had a soul, and all souls were one.
All right, try to explain this film.
Oh, it's a fabulous film. I love it's about
Yeah, but try to explain
it's
it.
actually about two angels. You would never know their names if their names didn't appear in the credits. One is Gamiel, Damiel.
Damiel and
Bruno Ganz, and another one is played by Otto Sander is Cassiel. And and they're angels, and what they are essentially are watchers, and they're watching over the divided city of Berlin at a pivotal time in Berlin's history. You know, it's a city of change. It's a city that's been destroyed and it's being rebuilt, and
this was shot a couple years before the wall went down, right?
Yeah, you know, it's and the angels are seeing, and I think it's fabulous. The angels see the world in black and white, and because they don't experience it. And you know what I really love about it is this idea that they're watching, and they have the ability to encourage people. You know, like if someone's upset, they can go over and put a hand on their shoulder or put their head next to them or something, you know, in order to encourage. But mostly they watch, and they're trapped in eternity. And there's I think a great scene where you see their perspective of things. They're standing by a river and they're talking about what it looks like now. But then it's like, oh, do you remember when these two stags fought here, which would have been thousands of years ago? And to them, that memory seems as almost as vivid and real as to what they're experiencing now, you know, because they say later, yes, and then years later, the first men came to this area, you know. So it's just these two angels, and one of them, the star angel, Bruno Ganz, who's, in my opinion, is fantastic. He has a very empathetic face. He starts following a trapeze artist, you know, played by the director's wife, or
girlfriend, I think. Yeah,
pointed out.
Girlfriend, yeah.
And he becomes obsessed with her. And the other angel, Otto Sander, he follows around an old storyteller who's trying to find purpose in life and trying to see if the stories he told are of value. And he's trying to see things that have disappeared in Berlin. You know, he's wandering around Berlin looking for the old things that are gone. And also you have this strange American actor in the film, you know, Peter Falk.
Peter Falk.
That's strange. Everybody knew him as Columbo.
No, I mean, it's strange that they would put Peter Falk in this film. You think they're just doing it because they want to put an American actor in, but then it turns out that Peter Falk has a history in this film, you know, and he plays a very pivotal part in the film.
Are you trying to avoid a spoiler, Sean, for a movie?
Okay, it's 100. You know, the film's 150 years old. Peter Falk was an angel himself, and he's like always trying to lure the other angels. Like he'll be standing at a hot dog stand, for lack of a better word, and he'll sense an angel there, and he'll start talking to it. It's like, oh, this coffee, you should taste it. It's great.
And I know you're
and
there.
One thing is, it's like, I know you're there. I can feel you. I can't see you, but I can feel you. And oh, this coffee's great, and your smoking is great. If you could do them both together,
live like this. Live life. You got to live life.
Yeah. So so Bruno doesn't need much encouragement because he has fallen in love with this woman, and he's tired of the endless watching, you know. And the angels all it's funny because the angels, well, obviously they would all know each other in that area because they've been there for thousands of years. I always like it when they go to the library, which is sort of like a gathering place for them. You know, there are male angels and female.
Beautiful
angels.
Scenes in that line. That's the thing. The cinematography in this film.
Yeah, and the cinematographer is a very famous European cinematographer. He did a lot of great French films. He even did Roman Holiday. So
he had now Chris is probably talking about this because I think you watched a lot of Criterion on this one.
Yeah, I went pretty deep on this one, fellas.
Because that cinematographer had like an 80-year-old lighting assistant.
Yeah.
All the young guys were like, how are these guys going to do this? And that's all lit with like natural light and the way they hid lights, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, and you know, and I know why you're not going to like this film, Ralph, but
what are you talking about?
Well, I just have a feeling. You know, a lot of people use the term lyrical to describe a film. This is like literally a lyrical film. It's like a tone poem, you know, and you have to be in the mood for it. I remember when this came out, you know, the audience, the people I knew who saw it were very mixed. They either loved this movie or like, oh, hey, you know, what's all this, you know, there's a bullshit talking, you know, like about like what you showed, the child is a child was a child, you know, it's like, come on, you know, who could sit through that? And it's a long movie, and it's slow moving. But to me, it's a beautiful, immersive experience. I could watch this film over and over.
Me too.
I was talking to Ralph, and I couldn't find my DVD of it, but so I had to watch it on HBO Max. But I was actually hoping to find my DVD so I could turn off the subtitles, because I took 3 years of German, and that was a long time ago. But when I saw it in the theaters, halfway through the film, I didn't need subtitles anymore because I was immersed enough in it that I was taking the language as it was. But I don't know. That was many years ago. I don't know. I think what German I have is mostly lost. I could speak the kind of German you'll find in Kelly's Heroes or something. A war movie where they have like a couple lines of German here and there. I'm like, yeah, I know that. But this film, there's some rather esoteric terms for me to comprehend at this level.
Well,
so but aside, another thing, just for people, most of the film's in black and white because the angel's perspective is always black and white. And to me, that's the most beautiful part of the film. But the color is really good too. When you go to the human side, the color and there's some really rich, beautiful color. And I think, as Ralph said, it's mostly natural. But it's really
well.
good.
Even in the darks, at the movie set, those scenes where he's shooting in the dark. I mean, they just went from. There's a palette of grays, blacks, and whites. It's just throughout the whole thing. I mean, I lost it on the Laserdisc. You can't see that on the Laserdisc. But when I went and I actually signed up for the Criterion package because of this film, because I wanted because they have a whole series of stuff on this film.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you didn't. I saw this as a younger person and loved it. I have to admit, when I watched it now, I was a little bit like, oh my God, this is going on. But I got totally obsessed with the technical aspect of it and the way he shot it. I watched a documentary about the process he went through to shoot this film. And to say I didn't like it, would I do this if I didn't like it? Come on. I mean,
right.
I love this film.
Yes. Oh my God.
This film is amazing. Okay. Now,
amazing.
It was a little pretentious, right? All the whispering, but what I loved about it, he didn't have any of that when he was shooting it. That was all being written while he was shooting the film. Chris, I won't take away your deep dive you did, but there's no bigger proponent of this film than Wim Wenders. I mean, that guy loves this film. He actually did a sequel, maybe one or two sequels. I think he did after this one.
Sequels. It says to be continued at the end.
There's one called
Far Away, So Close.
Far Away, So Close. Same people in there. They're all in it. And as a matter of fact, Otto plays an angel. I don't know if Bruno Ganz does in that one, but
no, I think Bruno Ganz is back as the character who's now human, and he's trying to convince the other angel, just as Peter Falk did for him.
That's the trigger.
And I haven't seen it, but it sounds like. Beneath the Planet of the Apes, where it's basically the same movie, but you have a different actor playing the same story, except it
like, looks a little.
Stop being an angel. Stop.
It looks like they indulged themselves in some other stuff too. I was watching some of it on YouTube, and it looks like he overindulged in some things. So, you talk about the black and white to color. There's that scene where Bruno becomes a human being, and first of all, he tastes the blood, and then he asks that guy about all the colors he's seeing on the wall behind him, which is just gorgeous. I mean, just the idea of what he was doing there. Now, there's a scene where Bruno grabs a pencil in the library.
Yeah.
So they, as angels, they could still cross into the human.
No, he didn't really grab it. He grabbed it. It was like an imaginary pencil.
But he was carrying it around. So that's all imaginary, I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't the real thing.
Right. Yeah, you saw the spirit kind of come out of the pencil. Right? He was
the spirit of the pencil, right?
And the rock from the girl's trailer.
From her trailer, exactly.
Her dressing room.
The way Wim Wenders described shooting this film in the process was just an amazing thing for me. The way he worked with the author to come up, and even Peter Falk had to ad lib that thing he did on the airplane, his thoughts that were going on. And I was going to say, before I let anybody else talk, the turning point for me in this film is when I figured out when he says that Peter Falk was an angel, because my accessibility into this film, I think, was Peter Falk, probably as I was younger, because I loved Columbo. I thought Peter Falk was a great actor. I saw The In-Laws. I was just obsessed with that guy. And to have him in this film is what got me into the film. And then to have him actually be one of the angels, I thought was just pretty wild. So I really enjoyed it. Although, yeah, it's long and it's, you really got to just say, okay, I'm going for it. And just let it happen. Let it wash over you. It's beautiful.
What I love about this movie is sort of like slow and moody and beautiful. If you've ever been in a bad mood or a sad mood, it's always good when it's raining because it adds to it. It's a certain great feeling about getting depressed. But when he becomes alive, that is like the turning point when he becomes not alive, a human being, or has a
mortal body.
Mortal body, right. Thanks. And that is when the movie just breaks into another dimension, and because he's breaking into another dimension. So that's I thought it was like very fantastic at that point. Loved it. Loved that part.
I was actually kind of worried because the circus was leaving. And if you notice, the circus was named after the cinematographer.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh no, he makes this sacrifice and he'll never find her.
Right.
But I think his friend was going to help him find her no matter what, so.
It's amazing. The documentary I watched had the guy who directed the American version.
City of Angels.
City of Angels. And it's like he's talking he's just beautiful talk about the Wim Wenders film. And then he went and created the thing that I don't think I've ever seen that one all the way through, but I just don't think it has the same vibe as this one.
Oh, I really didn't like the American version. No. I should see it again.
You do get to see Dennis Franz's butt on the big screen as opposed to NYPD Blue, so it does offer a little bit of a different experience. Butt.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things that probably the biggest issue I had with City of Angels, and one of the things that I love about Wings of Desire, is that in City of Angels, Nicolas Cage's Angel is able to interact with people before making any decision. He knows Meg Ryan. He falls in love with Meg Ryan. She falls in love with him. There is absolutely no risk when he decides to become a human being. And then, of course, at the end of City of Angels, the American one, they just decide kind of out of the blue to have Meg Ryan die in an accident in some kind of, in my opinion, really pathetic attempt to give it some gravitas. There's few films I dislike more than City of Angels. The only good thing about City of Angels is Andre Braugher as Casil, his friend.
Very good. Yeah.
I also I actually own Far Away So Close and rewatched it before this as well. So I'll get into that a little later. But Sean, you couldn't have picked a better movie for me, honestly. Just another excuse for me to sit down and watch this thing from beginning to end. It's one of those movies that I put up there as like one of the, and some people look down on this, but they'll probably say, okay, that's tracks. But this is one of the true quintessential art house films. I mean, this is one of those foreign art house movies. It's not just a foreign film, but a foreign art house film that I really put up there. I put it right up there along with, Breathless or The 400 Blows by Truffaut. It is probably one of my top 2 foreign films of all time, along with Chungking Express by Wong Kar-wai.
Is Das Boot on that list?
It's a beautiful film.
I love Das Boot. It's great. It's fantastic. But it's not, Das Boot's not an art house film.
I see. Art house. You mean art house
is what I mean. Okay. Das Boot is a great film. It's realistic. It's powerful. It's all of those things. But this movie, what I love about it is I love the way that I felt like it balanced, the character of Marion, the trapeze artist, and her kind of her loneliness and her, her vague sense of, ennui, whatever you want to call it. And then, but the same thing that was kind of happening with the Bruno Ganz character, and I love the way that, they give you enough time to kind of settle into what the life or what the existence of an angel is like, this eternal watching, this eternal observing, trying to help out. There's that great scene where he puts one of them, I forget which one, puts his hand on the shoulder of a guy on the subway. And he goes, I can pull myself around. But then there's the other part where the guy, he tries the same thing and he jumps off the side of the building, so it's not always a win. But then when he's talking, he's like, I just want to shout, I'd rather turn my life in for this eternal saying nothing but yes and amen, to just be a shout in the existence of their time. His life would be nothing more than a shout. And he's like, to lie through my teeth. And his his performance is so affecting, at least to me, that I could get that. You can kind of feel that giddiness. And, you know, there's that great scene where he's talking about all these great things that are going to happen when they're on the east side of the wall, the Eastern Berlin side of the wall. And then Otto says to him, or Castile says to him, and none of it's true. You know, and it gives you this moment and you're like, he's never going to find this lady. It's going to end like this kind of depressing German film, and he's never going to find her. And then he does. And
the transformation on the east side of the wall, Castile's like, it's not going to happen because he doesn't believe his friend is actually going to do it. And then there's the color, and he looks and he sees that his friend was leaving footprints.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and he's lucky he was talking to his friend, or he would have been in a pretty bad place there. You know?
Yeah.
You know, get him out to the west side of the wall.
I just wonder, and we'll let John and Drew talk in a sec. He picks this one woman. He's been walking around for eternity, and the trapeze artist is the one he picks, which, you know, what's that saying? What is that telling?
She's very limber.
Wings.
Obviously.
What's that?
She wore wings.
Oh, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I forgot. Okay.
It's pliable.
John, did you enjoy this one?
I knew that he was going to call on me next. The question is, how do I respond? I respect Sean and his taste in movies, so I want to say this the right way. The film was beautifully shot and had an ethereal quality to it, but I did find parts of it slow and ponderous. How do I say that without offending Sean? I'm going to have to tread carefully on this one. Here goes.
Well, Ralph, it's funny you should ask. I found this movie to be, this movie, this was interesting for me. First of all, I thought it was a beautiful movie. When I looked at Berlin, and I always say I like to see something I haven't seen before, and I really haven't seen that. And for me, what I found striking was, as bleak as everything looked in black and white, it was amazing when they went to color, how bright the city became with all that burst of color. So I really liked that. I found it, I thought it was too long. I thought all the scenes with that band could have been cut to a minute and would have accomplished the same thing. They stayed on that forever.
Yeah.
It was the time.
Yeah, well, it might have been, but it made the movie too long. There wasn't much of a plot to it. I loved that Peter Falk ended up being an angel. I thought that was interesting. I didn't see that coming, at the beginning. And I thought the performances were excellent. And but I have to say, there were times when I'm like, Jesus, I'm looking at my watch. I'm going, I just want this thing to get moving. Just something. It just took too long to get going. It picked up for me when he took the plunge. And, that one scene where he's walking down the street and the camera's following him the whole way down the street. I thought that was interesting. It's not that I did not like it. I did like it. But it didn't bowl me over. You read all the reviews on it and everyone, this is the greatest film ever made, blah, 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 blah. And from an art house movie, yeah, I can understand that. And everyone knows my thing. I like to be entertained in a movie. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it for what it was. I wasn't bowled over by it. I didn't go, wow, I'm so glad that I saw that movie. That was, I liked it though. I mean, I did like it. I was very interesting. I thought, like Ralph said, technically, I thought it was a beautifully shot movie. So that's my opinion.
I mean, is the point also
like what do you think? Did you see the Nick Cage one?
Yeah.
Did you like that better? Well,
I'll tell you, I liked it in a different way, but I didn't like the ending of that one. That was just so bleak. But it was okay. It wasn't a great movie, but I did see it. And I don't remember thinking, oh, this movie's awful. I remember having a visceral reaction to the ending of that movie because I loved Meg Ryan at that time. She's, and to see her hit by a truck and all mangled, and he's got that innocent, doughy look on his face. That I didn't like. But, visually, like I said, this movie, when he's up on the tower there with the angel, they're standing up there. It was just beautiful to see it. But, it was kind of plodding to me. It was just took too long for something to happen.
Well, let me ask you a question, Jim,
Yeah.
if I may.
You may.
I really like your pondering that you did before you.
Well, I just like to always bring something a little extra, you know.
It's a
Yeah.
good bit.
Did you work out that bit with Ralph first?
No.
No, Ralph knew nothing about it.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
That's
But-
John's favorite kind of bit, and it
That was
went well
tight.
today. Good job, buddy.
Whoopsie.
Never super easy.
It's super easy. Never. Go ahead, Deb.
I was going to ask you this question.
Yeah.
You know, during the movie, I know you're a believer in,
Yeah.
in angels. And did not it make you want to connect with an angel? Did you, after seeing this movie, like say, okay, I know you're here?
You know, it's interesting. I don't know if I thought that, but now that you say that, you always wonder if someone's looking over your shoulder when things are going on, good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes I like to think
Look
that.
at
I like
your
to
brother. Look at your brother.
He's the angel.
listen. Let me tell you something about my brother Ralph. He should not be wearing wings. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Ralph should not be wearing angel wings.
No, here's what I got. I didn't get the message. I mean, I understand that guardian angel, growing up, someone's always looking, which is part of the problem. But what I got, what they found precious, other than helping people, it was the little moments in life
Yeah.
that they were fascinated by. Little tiny little things that go on in everybody's life. Simple little things. And I think that's sort of the message of the film, which is life is precious, everything matters. Yes, there's bigger issues. One guy gets in a car accident that he has to hold. One guy jumps off the building, like Chris was saying. But to me,
Remember
it was
his reaction to that. His reaction to that. He touched him just as he was going over. So
Well,
he
he touched
felt
him,
something because he screamed. I mean,
Yeah,
he
he
went no, and that was the
went,
first sign of emotion any of
Right.
those angels show.
Well, he touched him before he jumped, and the guy still jumped.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
he put his
he-
hand on him.
he did the first time when he jumped, and you thought he jumped, and it was only a 5-foot drop or whatever
Yeah.
it was.
So-
But the second time, yeah, maybe he thought he could talk him out of it. I don't know.
I don't know. Or think about it.
I don't know what the angel rules are.
Right. Drew.
Well,
Anything?
I saw this in college, I guess, maybe even for a class. I didn't really remember it, and I've seen a bunch of Wim Wenders stuff, and his movies are generally very beautiful, and I don't connect with them very much emotionally. I will say it's beautifully shot. The sweeping views of divided Berlin, which is another version of Berlin that doesn't exist anymore. This is one of the great human cities with lots and lots of history. And I'll remind you that it's also the setting, this Berlin, for the movie Possession, featured in episode 5 of Movie Strange.
Yeah, I was just going
which has already been seen by 12,000 people. And you could be our 300th subscriber if you go and check out that channel now.
Oh.
But also, I feel like if you watch this movie, you're watching these characters, these angels. All they can do is observe and record other people's minds and lives. You don't ever have your own life, and you're awash in the inanity of everybody else's thoughts. My thoughts aren't so exciting all the time, and they have to listen to all of these thoughts. Right. And I feel like that would be a feeling for the angels, the closest they would get to a feeling, which is what I think drives Bruno Gantz's character in this film. It would be inertia, boredom, aimlessness. That is what this movie delivered for me as a viewer. It really put me inside of that. And the only part that really got me to have an emotional reaction is the scene in her home, that sad little trailer where it goes to full color. Now, this won Best Director at Cannes. At Cannes, you watch movies at the Palais du Cinema, which is thousands of seats, is giant, ornate building. And I could imagine the gasp when that first happened. It's the first time that it goes to color. This is beautiful woman. This is really, amazing moment. And then it takes it back into black and white. So you remember that. Like, that's kind of neat. But the other problem that I had with this movie, when you think about the different ways that people tell stories in movies, I have one that is far and away the least favorite. This, competent filmmaking and all that sort of stuff. Like, there's no question that this is made by professionals who know what they're doing. I hate voiceover so much. And this entire movie is essentially voiceover. And then when characters talk, they have the same tone and cadence that they had in the voiceover.
As their thoughts. Yeah.
So that actually really just a personal
I mean, this is not a this is, I think Sean mentioned, it's a poem. This whole movie's a poem. And in that last scene, you're right, in the bar when they're in color and Bruno's human and he finally meets up with the girl he's in love with.
And she does the monologue.
She's spouting the same, right.
Yeah.
You might as well close your eyes and just listen to what she's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I admit, I did not expect. I didn't remember how the movie ended. I remember very vividly how City of Angels ended, and that I thought it was very dumb. But it had a surprisingly happy ending that he found her.
Yeah.
Which reminded me of the movie Carol. I don't know if you guys saw that Todd Haynes movie with Rooney Mara and Cate Blanchett. And that movie appears to be heading towards the doom of this relationship between these two women in mid-century America. And then the ending is so beautiful and surprisingly happy. My heart just soared to watch it. And that's the exact opposite of what I experienced here. I was like, why is she still talking? She's telling me things that I think would be nice to feel watching this movie, but she's just talking flatly.
You know,
it just really never connected with me.
Yeah.
I read one critic who said that in this movie, the angels breathe in our angst the way that we breathe in smog, you know. So it would be, you know, if you look at the characters like that, they're just hearing these inner monologues, you know, and you could see why they would be interested in the small little things, you know, because, you know, it is like a huge, you know, a huge muddle. And there is a little voiceover. Is that a spoiler?
And Debbie, why are children able to see angels?
I don't know, but I know they do.
And I think it's great that the kids see them. And when he's sitting at the circus watching the trapeze artist, the kids just, you know, it's always looking over at him. It's like it just assumes he's just an adult sitting there watching.
Has anybody ever witnessed a little infant watching the angels? Has anybody seen that?
No.
Reacting
Does
to something.
anybody have? Okay, here's a like a little.
Somebody get a baby. Let's try it out.
Somebody get a baby, and
I'm about to have one.
Take that baby outside in a nice weather when there's not, you know, the baby's going to be happy. It's going to be nice and warm, or not too warm, but perfect. Take them outside, lay them on the blanket, and not a cloudy, not a sunshiny day, but under
because you don't want to blind them.
And just watch them. Just watch them look at the sky.
They did that scene in The Witch, and the baby got taken away.
I love that movie.
I don't think that baby was on a blanket.
Debbie watched about 14 seconds of The Witch.
Yeah, you can't listen. If you're a believer, I can understand the idea that you think that an angel actually has their hand on your shoulder. I appreciate that. That's great. But as a regular moviegoer like Drew or anybody, you really just got to buy into the just what's going on. The art of the film. If you don't buy into the art of the film, which includes the voiceovers, which includes the black and white, which includes Berlin as a movie set, as a movie place, is gorgeous to shoot. Now, John, you were saying when it went from black and white to color, it lit up. It still looked like the same Berlin. It just looked like
it didn't look as desolate.
Well, the whole movie had a dark kind of cloudy German feeling to it. I mean, it really did.
Yeah, because usually German movies are so much happier.
Oh my God, yeah, they just isn't M a German film too? Is M a German film?
Oh my God, M is oh man, that's a great film.
So, but Drew, I can understand the frustration with this. I get it, because I was feeling, as much as I knew I liked this film, 20 years later watching it, I'm like, oh Lord, okay, I get it. They're whispering in their ear. Let's go. Let's move on. I want to see what happens. Because I mixed up these two films. I thought he gets out, he comes down, and she ends up dying in front of him.
Yeah.
I got the two of them messed up. So I was waiting for that. But for me, it was all about Peter Falk.
Oh yeah.
That's what made it accessible for me. And it made the movie work for me as much as, Bruno Ganz, listen, you talk about being Hitler, but it's the diamond broker in The Counselor that really puts him on the map as far as I'm concerned. But no, Bruno Ganz is fantastic. And this, I don't know if this was his, it couldn't have been his first film. He must have been around for a while, right? Yeah. Because he and the guy, I don't know, Chris, did you see this in the background, the back stuff? The old guy that's in the library is a man that Bruno Ganz and the other guy who was his friend were doing a documentary about.
Yeah.
That guy is a famous storyteller or something in Germany, or was.
Yeah. He's
I think we're missing nuance by being Americans and being Americans, particularly of this time. I'm thinking we're missing a lot of the nuance that German audience would.
Well, think about that. That was when the wall was up too. So you had two different Germanys as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
that whole thing is weighing on everybody.
If you look at it, this film is about dualities.
Sure.
The immortal, the immortal, the split, the thing, the young, the old, and Berlin itself. I mean, and a change of time as well.
And isn't
the color
life,
black and white?
Yeah, and isn't life a lot of times just pure boredom?
Yeah,
it can be.
Look at what we're doing now.
The last year and this episode.
Only our audience is bored.
Yes.
Leave a comment if you're bored.
There's so much.
Chris wants to jump in, Deb. Let the new guy jump in. He wants to say something. He's dying to say something.
Well, I can say this. It's like I said, I watched Far Away So Close, the sequel, and it's funny. While it's definitely an inferior film in my opinion, I think you guys might like it more. It's got more plot, and in this one, the second angel, Casil, comes down. He becomes human, but almost in kind of, he was thinking about it, but then this little girl falls off of a building and he becomes human and catches her and saves her. So it's almost like a reaction that causes him to do it, as opposed to a well thought out plan. And he goes down the other side. Well, you catch up with Damiel, and he's living. He now has a child with Marion. He's a pizza maker, and he goes down the other thing. He ends up becoming like a drunk and it robs people. It all goes very wrong for him. But there's arms dealers and all sorts of stuff. But Wenders talks about it in the commentary. He talks about how, they never really expected the wall to come down when they were shooting, Wings of Desire. They didn't think the wall was going to come down in 2-3 years. They didn't think that was going to happen. But also one of the things he mentions is originally his thought was he wanted to just make a movie about Berlin. He wanted to make a movie about Berlin and Berliners. And so he thought about, should I do a delivery guy or a fireman, somebody who meets a ton of people? And then he stumbled on this idea of angels because he wanted to talk about like people's internal thoughts and monologues, and what a better way to kind of get at that. And that's what I really enjoyed about this film. And I know that voiceover can be tedious in a lot of ways, but I don't necessarily even think I consider this voiceover as much as just inner thought, because you have these characters who are talking and are thinking, yeah, sure, and there is a lot of voiceover in it, but a lot of it is just the voice, what's going on inside of a kid's head, or what's going inside of an old man's head as he thinks about his life and things like that. I don't know. I found this movie, I found it pretty much enthralling. It wasn't the first Win Wenders film I saw. But it was like, it was the second, I guess. And I don't know. I was just entranced by it.
How long after this one did you do the sequel?
It was like 6 years.
Yeah, 93.
It came out in 93. Yeah. Far Away So Close.
I think that's yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say that, like, it's definitely a different film. In fact, he even laments in his commentary on Far Away So Close that it basically did relatively well across the world, but in Germany, he said it played for like 2 weeks and then everyone forgot about it. And obviously, it pained him, considering how well this film was received and how the second one, which is it suffers from sequelitis. The law of diminishing returns is there, in my opinion.
I don't know how you go back to this well anyway. This one was one of a kind. I was just thinking as you're saying all this, and I'm thinking about the film and Drew's comment about narration. This is almost like a bad first-time filmmaker college type film. You think about films that I think about films when I first started making them, how pretentious you try to be, like some of that stuff, just the hands on the shoulders and people talking and, the way he shot it without having any of that dialogue. That was all shot before that writer was writing any of this stuff. But it was in the hands of a guy who just, the faces of all the people he uses, even the simple one, like the guy who gets in the car accident, who's sitting as he walks up to him. and he's just rubbing his thing. And even the kid with the headphones on jumping off everybody's memorable in this film, visually memorable. And they all have to show their pathos and their emotion through their face because nobody's talking. Literally nobody's talking really in this film until Bruno comes down.
Connecting.
Until Peter Falk.
The theme of the film is that people aren't connecting, and the angels aren't connecting either.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing about this. The angels are watching. We're watching a movie, watching the angels watching, and then we're watching ourselves.
Now,
You know,
talking about.
when you're watching, you're editing your own interpretation of the movie. It's amazing how you're always watching yourself. You know, through the angels watching you, and then the other characters, you know, the other people.
So
great.
this is really the precursor to Inception, then, with dreams within dreams within dreams. And
Can you imagine the poor angels that are sitting next to all of us right now, sitting through this? Come on, they got to be like, move on. Let's just.
well, I don't remember who said it. I apologize about how we missed a lot of a context between the fact that we don't speak German.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, this movie is really steeped in a lot of German film history and German writing that I'm not that familiar with. Like, I know it's inspired by the poetry of Rainer Maria Rilke. He's an interesting guy, but I don't know his poetry very well. It feels like it's out of a tradition of filmmakers like Fassbender and other people from decades earlier. And the dedication at the end is to
Three directors.
Ozu, Truffaut, and Tarkovsky. I admit I don't see any Tarkovsky in this movie, but I see what he's going for, and he makes a good try at it. But Wim Wenders is he's not that level of filmmaker to me, but I think it's nice that he acknowledges who has really inspired him and pushed him to tell these kind of stories. But I'm sure there's lots of things that we miss just because we don't speak German.
Do you think this is one of these films that you have to admit you like so you come off as cool?
No, I'm very
You
cool
should.
and I don't like it.
That's just, yeah. I'm
You
just
probably
wondering.
should.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
I used to have something called the Baltimore Film Club, and sometimes we have like 30 or 40 people. We go out every Monday night or every other Monday night, and we saw the movie Howard's End. There were like 35 of us. We're at the Charles Theater. We always had in the circle do a thumbs up, thumbs down, and everyone was thumbs up. And then this one writer, Chris Scharf, said, "Come on, you are only doing this because you're supposed to like it. Let's have
Chris.
another vote and be honest." And it was majority's thumbs down on it.
That's funny.
So I understand the question completely. But
Yeah,
I
I'm saying it. I didn't like this nearly as much as when I remember it the first time. Maybe I was trying to be pretentious then. I have no idea why. Peter Falk, whatever. But once I read all the background and stuff he did to create the film, then I was super impressed. And it now makes me want to go back and watch the film again, just based on the knowledge I have about how he filmed it, the history behind it, and what he was trying to do. And the Criterion Channel just has a ton of information about this particular film.
Well, if
Which
you
is
don't
fascinating.
have Criterion, which is an excellent investment, they have an incredible catalog and all these extras. I watched it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
And I mean, the movie looks amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's as beautiful on Criterion, but a lot of people already have HBO and they don't realize how deep their library of foreign films and classic films are. And this movie does look really quite incredible. On my 4K television, this movie that's,
I bet it's beautiful.
Yeah,
And just let them know it's on the TCM hub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a
on
lot of
their
good places
TCM
to
hub.
get it.
Yeah.
It's a very important film in film history, so it's going to show.
Well,
up there.
and on YouTube, there's a 45-minute doc about the film.
Oh.
And Wim Wenders is in there and a lot of people. And this is stuff he's talking about the cinematographer using his grandmother's pantyhose as a filter or something.
That sounds very German.
The tech behind this, the technology behind and the practices they used are just, and even just Peter Falk's involvement is a fascinating little aspect of this film. It's a lot of fun.
Did he ever talk about it? I'm curious what he thought of it.
Yeah, he loved it.
Well, and apparently
He did the
I
sequel.
guess
He's in the sequel.
Yeah, apparently Germans love Columbo.
Yeah.
I read something, and I don't, I think this was on the IMDb page, but apparently he had such a good time making the movie and was so entranced with Berlin that he stayed in Berlin for a week on his own nickel in case they needed to shoot some more stuff with it.
Yeah.
Like he just had that much fun there.
He loved walking around Berlin, just like walking around and looking at everything.
Well, yeah, apparently, and what do you call it? Vendor said on one of his commentaries, he was like, yeah, well, it was kind of problematic. He'd be like, hey, can I just duck out for 10 minutes? And then we'd be like, where is he? Like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour later, we're like, we can't find him. And it was because he had just gone off and started sketching something and just kind of got lost. And
yeah, he
it's like,
just has
okay.
that. There's just something super charming about him in this film.
he's-
And between
he's
him
awesome.
and Bruno Ganz, that one scene they do where Bruno comes out of the thrift shop with that crazy jacket and the hat.
Oh, God.
And he finds out that someone paid him $200 for his shield.
200
and,
marks.
200 marks. And however many years ago, 30 years ago, I got $500 from my,
In New York. In New York, I got $500.
Yeah, it was great. So, do we want to yippee-ki-yay? What? Go ahead.
I got one more point about this film. I think what I love about this film is so much so is it's sort of, gray in its tone. And sometimes am I just weird? I like to be depressed sometimes. I'll admit it. I enjoy it sometimes.
I wouldn't say weird. I would say.
Do you enjoy it because you like when you get out of it and how good that feels?
Actually, I like to be, it's so weird, and it's not like deep sadness, but expressing sadness like on a rainy day, when you have a rainy, cloudy day and you're just feeling sad.
I love the rain. It washes the memories off the sidewalk of life.
Oh my gosh, John. Who wrote that?
That's beautiful.
Woody Allen.
Donald Duck, I thought. Wasn't that
That was Woody Allen wrote that.
Oh. I thought it was Bugs Bunny.
Well,
It wasn't Bugs Bunny.
that's just me. And
Listen, I like getting the shin cramps in the middle of the night because I know they're going to go away.
That's why there is no angel. There is no angel sitting behind Ralph. I'm just telling you right now. Okay,
Debbie,
No way.
Debbie, I think it's very good that you want to engage with the whole spectrum of human emotion because some people don't do that. And I think it's important that you see that. And so I mean, just movies alone, I'll watch movies that I know will make me upset, make me cry. And it's very powerful experience. And I'm glad that I've done it and I want to do it again with other movies. This movie didn't do it for me, but if it did it for you, then it must be very satisfying.
Yeah. Pauly Shore movies make me cry.
That's so nice.
I don't know why.
They give
Son-in-law.
Son-in-law's a good one.
Sure.
Yeah, classic.
No, it is. Listen, I think the nice thing about films like this is you do think about, like I thought about the little things in life that keep you going. And it's, all good. Should we rate this one? Yippee-Ki-Yay, Yippee-Ki-Nay?
Yeah, I think we should.
Sean and Debbie, I know yours probably, right?
Yippee-Ki-Yay.
Yeah. John
I go yippee-ki meh. Meh.
and Drew?
I'm going to go yippee-ki-nay, but it's a very personal reaction. I mean, I don't care about angels or a lot of the stuff that undergirds the film. And then all the reasons it didn't connect with me, I talked about, but I still respect it, even if I don't think it's good and don't want to watch it again.
It is beautiful. I mean, it is beautiful.
gorgeous.
It's a beautiful film.
It is gorgeous. All right, guys.
But you don't want Chris's vote?
He already
he
he
gave
was
it-
like,
I gave it
Oh,
the
okay.
double thumbs
Yeah.
up,
He was
man.
right
It's
there.
Yippee-Ki-Yay.
It's one of his second favorite
Listen,
films of all time. I mean,
guys. I have complete control of
That's
this
true.
thing. I don't know why
No
you guys
stretch there.
like that. All right, here we go. Let's spin for the next movie.
Oh,
Now, we got to drop someone off here.
What was your Yippee-Ki-Yay rating, Ralph?
Mine was up. Thumbs up.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why, Ralph. You're on this wheel. You should
know
not
what?
be on this wheel.
You know what? You're off the wheel now. How do
You
like
shouldn't
that?
be on this wheel. It's not
Okay.
right.
Ah,
Yeah,
damn it.
there you go. There you go.
Just had to happen that way.
I am
didn't it?
going to tuck it to you on the next one. I'm telling you right now. I got a week to think about it.
Yep, you do. You got a week. So,
All right,
all right,
good.
everybody. Good one. Nice film. I appreciate all the talk. It was all good information. If there is an angel back here, I hope you enjoyed the show. Subscribe. Hit the
He can't
notification.
enjoy it because he doesn't have emotions, Ralph. Now, why are you
Now,
teasing
if we ring that notification bell 3 times, does an angel get its wings?
Yeah, he does, Ralph. He does. Clarence.
Every time you hear a wind chime, a soul
They
is
do have
dragged
emotions.
down.
That's the thing. They're just,
That's right.
Right.
They do have emotions, or else they would never none of them would have ever chosen to be human.
Right.
They just got bored.
Yeah.
I think.
And there was a lot of them. Peter Fox said that. He goes, "There's a lot of them.
A lot of us out here.
Well, if you
company.
watch that City of Angels, there's angels everywhere, right?
Yeah.
That thing, like, it's like
Well,
the Matrix. How
the,
many
the
angels?
scene, the one scene on the beach that they do watching the sunset is beautiful in that movie.
Yeah.
I love that scene in that movie. And I thought they were going to do it because they had that one scene that we were talking about sunrise, sunset, but they never did anything with that. So I was like, they're going to be doing, because they did it in the American version, which I really liked. I like that.
Who directed City of Angels? Was that Brad Silverling?
I don't even know.
I think that
Was
was
it?
his name.
Yeah.
Way to go, Brad.
Yeah,
He's
it's fun.
he's in the YouTube documentary. So
Yeah, but
Did the director of this film have anything to do with that film?
he wrote it. Well, he's the writer. That's it.
Yeah, but
It's
that was
based
it.
on-
He had,
I don't
he had
think so.
nothing else to do with it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And both the actors, the angels, are both dead, right? Both those guys are dead.
Is
And
Bruno
two guys
Ganz
the
played
lead
the-
actress.
Bruno Ganz is definitely dead.
And
Because
the
sadly-
blonde, and Otto too. He died earlier.
Oh,
than
one
that.
other thing I want to say: the girlfriend,
Also.
Yeah.
the director's girlfriend who played the trapeze artist, wasn't a trapeze artist. She learned that in 8 weeks,
She was amazing.
and
the
they
stuff
did it
she
with
was doing.
they did it with no nets.
Yeah, she did it. She did it completely as one would do it. Sadly
Yeah.
enough, she also is dead. She died at
That's so
45.
40
in
at
2000.
45. Wow.
Yeah.
She was 2007, or it was 2007. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of her. I don't know if any of you have ever seen his film Until the End of the World. If you thought this was slow and plotting, you may want to skip that one.
It's good though. I remember that one too as a younger man. I should watch it now. It'll probably kill me.
Well, if you watch it 2 times, like this, you could have watched it 2 times the speed, and it wouldn't change it at all.
Well,
That's true.
It wouldn't have, because right with all the subtitles. What was that?
You could cut most of, Otto Sanders' stuff out, but I know that character was very important to him. The storyteller.
well,
Very important.
yeah.
You
Well,
know.
part of the thing was also, not to keep belaboring this, but he originally, the deal with Otto Sander was he was a pretty popular actor at the time in Germany, and Otto wanted to do this thing where he came down and became human and started drinking and did all this stuff. But Wenders, who sometimes makes movies in a very odd way, was like, he really wanted to do this, and we talked about it, but I had used up 80% of my budget at this point, and I just didn't have the time. So part of the whole thing was when he made Far Away So Close was to allow this story idea that they had germinated together while making this other film. And interestingly enough, though, for a bit of a little bit of, that German sadness through line, in the movie, the Marion character is always talking about, her loneliness and being alone and things like that, and kind of that fear of that. And sadly enough, though, at the end of Far Away So Close, she's also alone, not in a traditional way, but she's married the Damiel character, and they've had a girl. But it's so obvious that he is so completely in love with his daughter that she even talks about how they have this special connection. And in the very last shot of the film, which is an amazing shot, if you ever get a chance to see it, she is alone on this boat, and all the other characters from the film are on the boat too. But the Damiel and his child, who's like 10, they're together, but she's specifically alone. Everybody else is kind of with somebody, a friend or something, and she is specifically alone. And it's just it was like a little bit of bittersweetness, I thought, to the end of that film, which admittedly, like I said before, is not as good. But like I said, it has arms dealers in it, so you might find it a little bit more exciting.
There might be a little more going on. Is that what you're saying?
Less narration.
Well, hey,
all right, everybody. I will.
And what's his name?
I will
Willem
keep
Dafoe
watching.
shows up too.
I'll keep my eye on all of you for the next 2 weeks.
All right, Lucifer.
That'll be my hand on your
Lucifer
shoulder, Debbie.
Morningstar.
Debbie, when you have that little joy in your heart when you need it, that'll be me leaning on your shoulder, listening to your thoughts. So, just want you to know.
He's just
All right.
hovering over the hot tub.
I'm just hovering. Look at that. All right, everybody. Have a good couple weeks. John, let us know the movie in a little bit.
You got it. Norm
John.
Macdonald, rest in peace.
Yeah. R.I.P. Norm. Yeah, that's so sad. All right, guys. Have a good time. Good one.
Have a good one.